Heartwarming moment revealed. Manager's shocking refusal saves 4.5B deal for inspiring black CO. Malik Robinson stood at the edge of everything he had ever dreamed of, the golden opportunity to transform Maplewood's future with a $4.5 billion deal. As the ambitious black CO, he was the beacon of hope for a community buried under economic inequality. Excitement hummed in the air. Families were counting on him. Little kids painted signs like "Go Malik," while parents whispered, filled with a blend of belief and anxiety. They had seen too many businesses close their doors. They needed this win. But the atmosphere cracked with tension when Karen Wright, his longtime mentor and fiercely principled project manager, walked into the conference room, her expression steely. "I want to be part of this," she declared, shaking her head. Her voice trembled with conviction, but it sent shockwaves throughout the team. Karen was more than just a mentor, she was family. And now, she was rejecting the scheme orchestrated by corporate players who would bleed the community dry for profit. Malik's heart ached. Could loyalty come at such a high cost? The local coffee shop buzzed with conversations. A couple of regulars exchanged worried glances, their half-empty mugs forgotten. Malik felt each whispered concern like an anchor, dragging him deeper into uncertainty. "You know, Mrs. Wright was always there for him," Mr. Johnson murmured, his voice thick with emotion. "She us right this isn't just about the money." Malik nodded slowly, his resolve solidifying. He had been raised to understand the struggle of his community, a place where people had poured their lives into each other. As he prepared to address the community rally, a knot twisted in his stomach. The crowd buzzed with an electric energy, but fear nipped at the edges of his hope. What if supporting Karen's stand cost them everything? Fueled by the emotions of his neighbors, he stepped up to the podium, the eyes of Maplewood on him, full of hope, full of doubt. "Today, we stand at a crossroads," he began, voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "This deal isn't just numbers. It's our chance for a brighter future. But what good is success without integrity?" Silence enveloped the crowd, and for a fleeting moment, he could almost hear their hearts beating in unison. Then came the murmurs, growing louder, reflecting both pride and fear. He could feel them leaning closer, eager to understand his next move. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Malik felt the deep connection of his community. A flicker of hope ignited in him. Supporting Karen isn't just the right thing to do, it's what you all deserve too. The crowd roared back, voices merging into a wave of support. They were standing with him, standing for their values, their families. But as Malik gazed into their eyes, a lingering fear gnawed at him. What if challenging the corporate greed meant losing this battle? Hearts raced in anticipation, daring to dream of a different future, yet bound by the weight of every choice they made. As he stood before them, the question hung suspended. Would they fight for not just a deal, but for the justice their community desperately deserved? Malik's heart raced, echoing the rhythm of the crowd. The cheers, the shouts of encouragement, felt like fuel propelling him forward. But beneath that rush of adrenaline lurked a thick layer of fear. Would they understand the depth of his commitment? Would they accept his decision to stand by Karen and collectively fight for what was right? The voices of his neighbors surrounded him, wrapping around his heart like a fragile cloak. He caught sight of Mrs. Jenkins, a single mom who had spent her life working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears as she raised her hand, her small son perched on her hip. "We believe in you, Malik," she called, her voice cutting through the tension like a beacon. Her words settled into him, igniting a warmth that pushed back the cold bite of fear. Deep down, he knew he couldn't let them down. Not now. Not ever. Taking a deep breath, he looked at the sea of familiar faces, each one a thread woven into the fabric of his life. Maplewood. We have a choice to make, he shouted, his voice rising above the crowd's chatter. We can chase after quick wins that only fill pockets, or we can strive to rebuild our community, brick by brick. This isn't just about money, it's about people. About our children's future, and the legacy we leave behind. His words ignited an electric response. People were nodding, fists pumping the air as they felt the weight of his passion. But he also sensed a shift in the crowd. The underlying worry began to bubble up. What if they risked everything for a cause that might not pay off? He heard whispers again, some tinged with doubt. Can we trust him? What if we lose it all? Malik felt their hesitation creep into his own heart. Could he truly guide them in the right direction? He knew the stakes were staggering. With every question, the whispers grew louder, like a storm gathering just on the horizon. I promise you this, he cried out, determined to break through the fog of uncertainty. I will fight for every one of you. We may face setbacks, and we may stumble, but together, we will not fall. Corporations can have their profits, but we will cultivate our resilience and stand as one. The crowd erupted again, but this time the energy felt different. There were still worries, but now woven into it was a sense of empowerment. They shared stories of struggle, stories of resilience. Each voice, a reminder of what they were fighting for. In that moment, Malik spotted Karen standing at the edge of the crowd, her gaze steady and fierce. It was a silent reminder of why he was here, not just to lead but to lift those around him. The values she had instilled in him surged to the forefront of his mind. He couldn't let down his mentor, his community, or himself. As the rally drew to a close, Malik reached a decision that made his heart both soar and tremble. I will not pursue this deal that does not reflect our values. Instead, we will seek partnerships that genuinely uplift our people. Change is coming, but it won't be easy. The crowd exploded into applause, arms raised high as if to touch the sky. Yet, deep down, Malik felt the unease. He knew the fight ahead would be tougher than anything they had faced before. As hope flickered between them like a flame, another thought broke through. What if they were all too late? With that uncertainty hanging in the air, he turned away from the podium, pulse quickening. Each step away felt heavier. Questions whirled in his mind. What would be the consequences of his decision? Would they stand together to take on the challenges ahead? And would Karen still be by his side? He didn't quite know yet, but one thing was certain: the real battle was just beginning. Malik walked through the crowd, the energy still electrifying around him, but a weight pressed down on his shoulders. Anxiety twisted in his stomach like a knot. The voices that had once cheered him on now echoed with voices of doubt. What if this doesn't work? What if we lose everything? He forced himself to shake off the thoughts, focusing instead on Karen, who was approaching him with a determined glint in her eyes. Malik, she said as she reached him, her tone both serious and encouraging. What you did up there, it was powerful. But we have to prepare. They won't just let you walk away from this deal without a fight. I know, he replied, rubbing the back of his neck. But if we don't take this stand, what are we really doing? We can't keep compromising just for the sake of a paycheck. That's true, she nodded, her eyes scanning the crowd like they were in a battle zone, searching for any signs of dissent. But there are real consequences. We need a plan. We need to rally our supporters, and fast. Malik sighed. Karen was right. There was a lot at stake. Not just for him, but for all the families depending on this initiative. The fight couldn't be just words. It had to be action. Let us meet with the other community leaders, he suggested. If we get them on board, We can show that there's a united front that can't be ignored. With Karen by his side, they began weaving through the still buzzing crowd. Faces were awash with emotions ranging from hope to anxiety, all cloaked in uncertainty. Malik felt their energy, the struggle behind each of their stories resonating deep within him. He couldn't let them down. Not now. As they reached the local community center, he spotted a group of familiar faces. Elder Howard, a respected storyteller within Maplewood, waved them over. "I heard what you said, young man," he exclaimed, his voice dripping with pride. "We're with you. But we need to understand how this fight will unfold." Malik looked around, feeling a swell of encouragement. "We need to strategize and let the corporations know that this isn't just a business deal. It's about people's lives. We're going to gather everyone, raise the stakes higher, and advocate for ourselves." "What about the risk?" Another voice chimed in, a young woman named Lila, who had recently started her own business. "What if they retaliate against us? What if it backfires?" Malik inhaled sharply, the concern hanging stark in the air. "It could, but we have to take that risk. If we let fear rule our decisions, we're already lost." A wave of silence fell over them. They could feel the gravity of his words, some faces tightening with apprehension. Malik pushed forward. "We can stand together, or we can crumble alone. I want Maplewood to thrive, not merely survive. I need every one of you in this fight. Are you with me?" "Yes." A chorus of affirmatives rang out, sparking a renewed determination that coursed through the room. The tension melted slowly, but Malik could still sense the uncertainty lingering just beneath the surface. "I'll do my part," Karen said quietly. "But they will come for us. Please be ready for that." "What if we mobilize a ground campaign?" Malik asked, his mind racing. "We can generate awareness, share our stories, build a real movement. Not just local," Elder Howard added, "but regional. If we draw in support, we can show them the strength of a united community." Malik felt something shift. He could see the glimmer of hope in their eyes. Maybe they really could do this. "Let us get to work," he urged. "And I'll promise you this, they won't take our fight lightly." As they began to disperse, a sense of urgency hung thick in the air. Malik could feel the heartbeat of the community all around him, igniting within him a fierce determination. What lay ahead was a daunting path, but they were not just a collection of individuals. They were a community forged through struggle, ready to confront the turmoil together. Little did they realize, they were already being watched. In the shadows, a figure in a dark suit smirked, cell phone in hand, ready to report back to those in power. As Malik took one last look at the gathering crowd, a sinking feeling twisted in his gut. Were they prepared for what was coming? Despite the hope that flickered in his heart, the looming threat cast a dark shadow over their efforts. How could they possibly meet this challenge head-on? Malik gathered his thoughts as he stepped out into the evening air, the cool breeze brushing against his skin. The sun was beginning to set, casting warm hues across the horizon. He wanted to feel hopeful, to let the golden light wash over the weight in his chest, but the shadow of doubt loomed larger than life. "Are you okay?" Karen's voice broke through his haze. She stood beside him, her expression both concerned and strong. "I just didn't expect it to be this hard," he admitted, running a hand through his hair. "I thought with the right words, we could inspire them. But now I don't know if that'll be enough. It's not just about talking. You sparked something tonight." She paused, searching his eyes for reassurance. "But I understand. They're scared. So are we. It's a big fight." Malik trusted Karen's perspective, but each "what if" you could put in front of their cause felt like a dagger aimed at the heart of his resolve. "What if they retaliate?" He echoed Lila's concerns. "What if they come after us directly? I can't let them hurt my community." Karen placed a hand on his shoulder. "We face those fears together. Together, we can weather any storm, remember? The warmth of her touch steadied him, but he couldn't push away the gnawing feeling at the back of his mind. Just as the afternoon light faded, thoughts of desperation seeped in. They needed to act quickly, but his heart raced with uncertainty. "Let us head back inside and keep moving forward," Malik finally said, trying to shake off the anxiety. "There's no time to waste. We'll draft a clear message, gather everyone as stories. If we can personalize our struggles, maybe we'll break through." Inside, the community center buzzed with activity. Pencils scribbled, papers shuffled, and conversations flowed. Elder Howard sat at a table, listening intently as Malik shared his vision. "We need to bring in everyone from Maplewood. Everyone's life intertwined is a story worth sharing. We stand as one." Malik looked up and saw laughter ripple through the crowd. It was a small juncture of light within the complexity of the moment, a reminder of why they were fighting. They weren't merely statistics or voices drowned out by corporate giants. They were individuals, stories coming together to forge a new chapter. Still, doubts nagged at him. And if the sponsors pull back? If they retaliate? He asked, half to himself, half to the room. A sudden hush fell over the crowd. He could feel the weight of their collective fear hanging thick. Lila, her brows furrowed, spoke up. "Maybe we need a backup plan. Local businesses could join us, and we can use social media as an ally. We have friends in the tech world who might help spread our message." "Brilliant," Malik exclaimed, a flicker of excitement breaking through his worry. "Let us make them see that things are changing, and we won't back down. We won't let fear silence us." Determination swelled amongst them. Each face lit with purpose, each voice aimed towards a common goal filled the room. But as Malik glanced around, he noticed something troubling the figure from before, standing just outside the window, watching. The crowds of laughter and ideas suddenly felt overshadowed by a creeping sense of dread. Malik's heart raced again as realization hit him. What if they already knew? What if they were ready to strike before he could even make his next move? Karen followed his gaze. "What's wrong? Someone's watching us." Malik's voice trailed off as his thoughts spiraled into worry again. He knew it was dangerously close to the end of the line. Could they truly change the tide with a simple gathering? Could they overcome the darkness that threatened to engulf them? He felt the air shift, both inside the room and outside. The fight they thought they were ready for was about to become something else entirely. As he turned back to the crowd, Malik knew that a storm was brewing. It was no longer a matter of if, but when it would hit. And in that moment, he couldn't help but wonder, would they be ready for it? As the shadows grew longer, the candlelight within the community center burned fiercely, every flicker a reminder that they were not alone in this fight. But something told him the real battle was just beginning. Would they fight back when the time came? The atmosphere in the community center felt charged, a coiled spring ready to snap. Malik scanned the room, his gaze lingering on the concerned faces of his friends and neighbors. Each person had a story, a heartbeat that echoed a struggle shared. But that figure outside, a silhouette cloaked in the dimming light, carried an ominous weight that settled like a cloud over their hopes. "What do we do?" Lila asked, her fingers fidgeting with the hem of her shirt. The worry in her voice cut through the buzzing chatter, anchoring attention on Malik. "We assess," Malik replied swiftly, trying to sound composed. "We draft a clear statement and circulate it widely. If they're watching us now, then we need to show our strength, our unity." His words felt courageous, yet deep down, he felt adrift in uncertainty. Karen stepped closer, her voice steady. "You've been a leader for us, Malik. Let us build a strategy together. If we crowdsource our ideas and stories, then we can flood the channels with our truth." Malik nodded, her confidence providing a flicker of hope. Together, they divided into smaller groups, each tasked with crafting their stories and building support networks. He felt the energy shift. Countless voices began to ripple through the space again, replacing fear with purpose. As he walked through the room, listening and encouraging, Malik paused near Elder Howard. The elder rested his chin on his hands, eyes glimmering with wisdom. "You know, Malik," he said slowly, "the strength of our community goes beyond what you see here tonight. It's in each one of us, in our histories, our struggles, our resilience. Don't forget that." Malik's heart swelled at the elder's words. It felt like acknowledging something vital, a truth long in the making. This wasn't just Malik's fight. It was a communal battle, a narrative intersecting lives, dreams, and fears. As they shared their stories, the energy was palpable. Laughter returned to mix with tears, blending together into something like magic, vulnerable yet unbreakable. They began documenting their experiences, a tapestry of shared resilience emerging before their eyes. Each story became a testament of strength and defiance. Just when the air in the room felt electric, a loud noise interrupted. A loud bang came from outside, followed by murmurings that sent chills down Malik's spine. They instinctively turned towards the door, their collective breath hitching, fear creeping back in. "Maybe we should lock the doors," someone suggested, glancing nervously at the windows. Malik felt a rush of adrenaline. "No! We can't let fear dictate our actions. If we give in now, we lose." He turned to the community, searching for resolve in their expressions. "This is our moment to stand together, to show them we won't be intimidated. Let us stay focused." As he stood in front of the crowd, something deep inside surged, a determination stronger than fear. With a nod, everyone rallied together, leaning in for strength. The stories they had begun gathering would be more than words on paper. They would become a shield against whatever lay beyond the walls of the center. Just then, a muffled voice from outside broke through, loud and aggressive. "You're in over your heads. You don't know what you're messing with." The tension escalated again. Malik swallowed hard, but then he heard Lila's voice, rallying everyone beside him. When would they learn? "We're not backdowners. We won't allow their threats to shake us." Malik felt the fire grow within them all, the collective heartbeat echoing like a drum of defiance. But a question loomed over them all, clawing at every soul present. What would happen if those threats came to fruition? He spotted the figure again, moving closer, the outline sharpening against the flaring lights. Was it just intimidation, or was a deeper reckoning ahead? The air thickened with anticipation, and then he took a steadying breath. "Whoever you are, listening from the shadows, know this: we are ready." The room erupted in solidarity, voices lifting, but fear still clung like a mist around. Malik's heart raced. Was this confrontation inevitable? And as night wrapped its arms around them, looming darkness whispered promises of uncertainty. Would they face the storm that was brewing? The air hung heavy, charged with the tension of the unknown. Malik stood at the forefront, adrenaline flooding his veins. He could feel the warmth of the community at his back, but the shadow outside loomed ever closer. It sparked a primal urgency within him, blackening his thoughts with questions. Who was out there? What did they want? The sudden bang had shattered their fleeting moment of unity, and Malik's heart raced as he desperately searched for a way to channel their fears into something tangible. He turned to face his friends, their eyes wide, glistening with determination mixed with apprehension. "Everyone, let us remember why we're here," Malik shouted, his voice cutting through the fog of dread. "We're stronger together. Each voice matters. Share your stories, share your truth." With renewed energy, people began recounting their experiences, struggles with discrimination, stories steeped in resilience, moments when hope felt like a distant flicker. Each tale weaved into the fabric of their shared existence. As the words spilled forth, the earlier chaos fell away, replaced by understanding. Laughter mingled with tears, revealing the heart of their community. Outside, the figure shifted again, looming just beyond the door. A deep instinct began to gnaw at the back of Malik's mind. Was this a threat or a challenge? But right then, his attention was drawn back inside, where Elder Howard had risen from his seat, his voice cutting through the euphoria. "Let us not forget," he said slowly, drawing their eyes like a lighthouse in a storm. "What we face today is more than mere words. It's our very existence they wish to undermine. We carry our ancestors' struggles, every victory sown into our spirit. Stand firm." A wave of silence swept through the crowd. Malik noticed tears glistening in the elder's eyes, and it shook him. As much as he wanted to push back against the dark, he also felt the weight of history. This wasn't just about them. It was a legacy. And then, a scream broke the tension, a mix of fear and anger. Malik turned to see Lila, her finger pointing at a figure approaching. A woman, her face partially hidden, stepped out of the shadows, snarling at the gathering. "Pathetic." The woman spat, her words sharp like glass. "You think your little meeting matters? You think sharing your sad stories will change anything? You're nothing." Malik felt the air thicken, a mix of fear and adrenaline threatening to squeeze the life out of him. Yet he sensed the resolve of his neighbors rising behind him. His voice, though shaky, shot forth again. "You might think we're nothing, but we are a community. We are here for each other, and your threats won't silence our voices." With the words echoing in his mind, he noticed Lila step forward, her small frame imbued with a fierce strength. "This isn't just about us. It's about everyone who has ever been silenced. We refuse to be afraid." The crowd erupted again, shouts of support bouncing off the walls. The force of solidarity added weight to every word spoken, swelling like a wave ready to crash. Malik felt electricity surge through the room, a fierce reminder that there was power in their unity. The woman's face contorted with rage, but as she stepped towards them, something shifted. The whispered threats from outside hadn't prepared her for this battle of wills. One by one, more people stood tall, framing a protective circle around Malik and Lila. But just as hope soared, the woman let out a chilling laugh. "You think this is over? You're just opening the floodgates. I've just begun." Malik's heart sank. What if she was right? A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Panic threatened to sweep over them once again. Steeling his voice, he took a step forward, facing the encroaching darkness. "Then let the flood come. We will stand together. Our stories will drown out your threats." Outside, the sky darkened further, leaving no doubt that the storm was brewing. And within Malik, a resolve crystallized. If confrontation was inevitable, they would face it head dash on. As the figure stepped closer, breath held. In the room, Malik wondered, would the strength of their unity be enough to weather the storm they had unleashed? The woman stepped forward, her face finally illuminated by the flickering light of the gathering. The shadows of her snarls only seemed to deepen as she approached. Malik could see the glint of something cold and sharp in her eyes, a cruel satisfaction dancing there. It made his blood run hot, yet he held his ground. Behind him, the community collectively inhaled, waiting for the next move. "Open the floodgates?" she mocked, tilting her head, as if the mere suggestion amused her. "You have no idea what you're asking for." The words hung in the air like thick fog. Malik felt the unease creep back in, a memory of past struggles threatening to drown out their newfound momentum. Yet, he couldn't back down now. With every ounce of conviction he could muster, he yelled, "Whatever you throw at us, we'll face it as one. Your threats don't intimidate us." A ripple of murmurs fell over the crowd. Faces turned towards him, hope gradually replacing fear. Lila's hand found Malik's, a small reminder of their connection amidst the chaos. Together, they raised their voices, harmonizing in a potent mix of defiance and hope. "One voice, one community," they chanted, the words swelling and crashing like waves against an unyielding shore. The woman's expression faltered. For a heartbeat, confusion flickered across her face. But then, anger surged back like a storm tide. "Do you really think you can change anything?" she hissed. "You think playing reunion will save you?" "More than that," Elder Howard interjected, his voice steady as a rock. "We are forging a new path. One that cannot be silenced by the likes of you." The weight of his words felt like armor, encasing them in a shell of unity. The energy in the room shifted again, electric with possibility. As the woman stepped closer, Malik noticed the change in the crowd around him. People weren't just standing behind him. Their faces were illuminated by a mix of determination and fearlessness. They weren't afraid anymore. Elder Howard continued, "We are the descendants of those who fought back. We are the voice of a legacy that cannot be denied." The edges of the gathering tightened, their collective presence becoming a wall against the chaos outside. Malik took a deep breath, the air thick with unresolved tension and burning hope. This is more than just talk. It's about believing in each other and coming together for something greater. "We want to let your hate drown out our purpose." With those words, he felt a profound warmth spread through the crowd. It swelled like a growing flame, igniting each spirit, reminding them of the strength they held when united. The woman laughed again, a sound filled with disdain and disbelief. "You think this is a fire? It'll be snuffed out before it even gets warm." But even as she spoke, Malik noticed her standing slightly more cautious. The fire was in their hearts now, and it challenged her darkness. As the confrontation continued to escalate, Malik's mind raced. Each second felt like an eternity. He wondered what the next step would be, and if they had a weapon beyond words against the looming threat. An idea flickered to life. A voice inside urged him to dig deeper within himself. "Let us not just withstand the storm. Let us turn it into something beautiful." His words erupted, barely processed as they left his lips. The murmurs in the crowd faltered momentarily before charging back to life, igniting the embers of hope once more. But before the noise could swell into a mighty roar, the woman's laughter rang out, chilling and dark as a winter night. "You think you've found your voice? Wait until you see what I unleash." The reality of her promise gripped Malik's heart, a tight band of fear wrapping around it. Could their unity withstand the full force of what she threatened to unleash? As the crowd held its collective breath, Malik's thoughts raced ahead. They had to be ready not just for the words, but for the actions that would follow. Would their unyielding bond be strong enough to combat whatever storm the woman had in store for them? The answers loomed like thunder in the distance, and as the moment of reckoning approached, Malik felt a tremor of uncertainty knot in his gut. Would they rise to meet the challenge ahead? Or would they crumble under the weight of her fury? The woman stood poised like a viper, her presence an ice-cold front against the growing warmth of the crowd. Malik could feel the energy pulsing around him, but it mingled with a palpable tension unlike anything he had ever faced. He locked eyes with the woman, unsure of what would come next, but knowing it could either shatter their momentum or catapult them forward. "Do you think a few chants will scare me?" she sneered, her gaze sweeping over the crowd, searching for any hint of weakness. "You don't even understand what you're dealing with." With every word, her voice dripped like poison, infecting the atmosphere with doubt. Malik felt Lila's grip tighten on his hand, an unspoken promise that they would stand together. He glanced at her and saw that same fiery determination reflected in her eyes. It fueled him, pushed him to stand taller, to face whatever the darkness could throw their way. "Together, we can turn her words into ashes," Malik shouted, his voice rising above the din. The crowd took a collective breath, and in that moment, it felt like the breeze of hope was blowing through them, scattering the shadows away. Elder Howard stepped forward again, drawing strength from the united front. "You may think you can instill fear, but fear is a flimsy shield against the power of unity and love. We are not just a gathering. We are a family fighting for what we believe in." The woman recoiled slightly, her contempt fading just enough for Malik to seize the opportunity. "We won't back down. Not now. Not ever." The chant echoed again, one voice. One community. It crashed through the oppressive aura surrounding them, something inside Malik igniting in response. As the echoing voices filled the room, Malik started to see ripples of change on the woman's face. There was hesitation, just the slightest quiver of uncertainty. It was small, but it was there. He decided to push harder. "You may think you can tear us apart, but our roots run deeper than you can imagine. We will be the light in this darkness." Even as he spoke, shadows loomed, waves of uncertainty crashing into him. What if she did unleash something terrible? An unease prickled at the back of his mind, twisting in tandem with the determination in his heart. Suddenly, her laughter cut through the noise again, sharper and more dangerous than before. "So naive you think you can hold on to your hope?" The creases on her brow deepened as she glared at them. "Let me show you what real suffering looks like." In an instant, Malik felt a heavy weight settle over them. She raised her arms as if calling forth the storm, and an unnatural wind began to swirl through the gathering. It rippled around them, shaking the very ground beneath their feet. Murmurs of confusion and fear began to replace their chants. Malik's heart raced. Fear gripped at him harder, but he couldn't let it show. He looked around and saw the mix of faces, some inspired, others panicking. They were on the brink of a breakthrough, but it felt like they could just as easily tumble into despair. "Remember why we're here," he shouted, letting the urgency of his voice carry through the chaos. "Look to each other. We're stronger together." He could see Lila nodding at him, determining to fight that darkness alongside him. With trembling hands, the community squeezed tighter. They formed a circle of strength and resilience. Each face reassured one another with silent promises. Malik took a deep breath, holding onto the fire in his chest, willing the doubts to disperse. Then, he yelled over the rising wind, "We choose hope. We choose love. And we won't let you break us." Just as he finished speaking, the woman's outstretched hand froze midair. A flicker of doubt passed through her, and for the first time, it seemed like an actual crack had formed in her confidence. Could fear be challenged by something more powerful? Unity? But then, with a derisive sneer, she shouted, "Let us see how long you can hold on to that. The storm is just beginning." As her words reverberated through the air, Malik felt the ground shake beneath them. The feeling of impending doom loomed ever closer. Would they emerge from this together, or would she sever their bonds once and for all? The climax was approaching, and Malik could feel the heat and fervor build around him. As the winds howled, would their light withstand the darkest of tempests? The wind whipped through the crowd, tearing at the fabric of their unity. Malik's heart pounded. With every gust, it felt as though the woman was testing their resolve, pushing them back toward despair. But they stood firm, arms locked, faces tilted toward the storm. He could feel the pulse of Lila's hand in his steady, unwavering. "Keep chanting," he urged. "Every voice matters. We're not backing down." The voices rose again, a chorus of strength and defiance. One voice. One community. They shouted it louder and louder, and Malik felt the warmth of collective belief pushing back against the cold that threatened to consume them. But the woman's laughter rang out again, this time sharper, more frantic. "You think this is strength? This is nothing but a mirage. Your unity won't save you from the darker truths." Malik's stomach churned. He didn't understand what she was up to, but the way she spoke felt like a spider weaving a web, ensnaring the crowd in its shadows. The wind howled louder, swirling like an angry beast as though it would pull them apart. "Do not listen to her," Elder Howard shouted, his voice cracking against the din. "Fear does not hold power over love. Together, we are unyielding." It was then that Malik spotted flickers of fear on some faces. A couple of voices wavered, hesitating, unsure against the tempest. He knew he had to do something fast, something to reignite that hope before it sputtered out entirely. "Close your eyes," he yelled, fighting to keep the anxiety from creeping into his words. "Feel the strength of each other. Picture the joy of a unified community. Picture the light that shines when we come together." He squeezed Lila's hand tighter, grounding himself. Her strength flowed into him, their connection an anchor amidst the storm. One by one, people nodded and closed their eyes. Malik could see the tension ease. There's strength in vulnerability. He called out, "Let us take a deep breath together. In and out." Together, they breathed. Malik led them, feeling the rhythm of unity pulse between them. The wind howled around their circle, but within, warmth enveloped them like a shared blanket. The laughter of the woman faltered, a flash of disbelief crossing her face. How could they still be strong amidst her chaos? Was she their nightmare? The crowd found its voice again, stronger now. One voice. One community. It soared, cutting through the storm like sunlight breaking through the clouds. With each chant, Malik felt his purpose crystallize. The fear that had threatened to reel them backward now fueled forward momentum. Yet just as the tide seemed to shift, a crack of lightning split the sky above, illuminating the woman's expression. Her eyes burned bright with fury. "Enough. I will show you true despair." Without warning, she unleashed a wave of dark energy that crashed against their circle. Malik braced himself, realizing that this was it. This would either shatter them or bind them closer still. "Hold on!" he shouted, feeling the surge of darkness whip over him. Would their light be strong enough to withstand the final blow? He needed to believe it. They needed to believe it. As the darkness swirled around them, Malik focused on the faces around him, the connection they shared, and the hope they had ignited. Could they truly become stronger together in the face of this storm? He looked back at the woman, defiance tattooed on his heart. "We won to let you win," he declared, his voice distinct and carrying through the chaos. But as he spoke, the woman's lips curled into an ominous grin. "Let us see, shall we?" A final rush of wind surged against them, and in that moment, Malik understood the cliff they were standing on. The next moments would determine everything. Would they rise or fall? Would unity truly conquer darkness? The storm around them swirled with chaotic fury, a tumultuous clash of light and darkness. Malik could feel his heart pounding like a drum, a steady rhythm against the panic gripping the crowd. "Stay strong," he urged, voice barely cutting through the rising winds. "We're together. That's what makes us unbreakable." The chant echoed again, the collective energy of their unity propelling it forward like a beacon. One voice. One community. The crowd came alive, faces illuminated by the flickering glow of hope amidst the consuming dark. Malik watched as the woman's expression shifted, uncertainty creeping into her eyes, revealing cracks in her confidence. With each chant, their strength seemed to push back the shadows. But he couldn't let doubt settle in. They needed to stay relentless. If sensing the shift in energy, the woman raised her arms with a furious shriek. "You think this is power? You're nothing without fear." The air around them thickened, shaking the very foundation of their resolve. Malik braced for impact, a pulse of fear thrumming in his veins. But then he remembered this wasn't just about him. It was about everyone standing with him, those who believed in this fight, those who had poured their lives into this very community. "Close your eyes again," Malik shouted, forcing the words past the fear. "Breathe. Feel each other." The crowd obeyed him, a wave of solidarity filling their space. He closed his eyes too, grounding himself in the moment, letting the warmth of connection push out the icy tendrils of dread. In and out heartbeats harmonized in a powerful rhythm. Each breath ignited new resolve. The connection intensified, transforming their fear into courage. Malik opened his eyes, taking in the sight. A circle of resilience. Every face reflected fierceness, every spirit illuminated by purpose. He could feel the doubt shattering, the darkness starting to ripple away like mist before the sun. "We believe in each other," he called out, his voice growing stronger with each word. "We believe in a future where we lift one another, shine brighter together." Lila squeezed his hand tighter, the unity of their connection sending a current of hope through him. He turned to face the woman, now trembling with disbelief. "You thought you could break us, but you only made us more determined." The wind slowed, a pause unfurling in the chaos. The woman stared in shock, the storm flickering like a candle threatened but not extinguished. Malik's heart surged. This was their moment. "Let us show her who we really are," he rallied, raising his voice above the lingering winds. "We will stand together, not just as individuals, but as a community built on love." Every single voice that joined him became a layer of armor against the chilling darkness. One voice. One community. The chant roared again, a formidable wave cresting higher, fueled by shared stories and boundless resilience. With a final surge of energy, Malik locked eyes with the woman and declared, "You may think you can instill fear, but we choose love. We choose hope." His voice rang with conviction, flaring like a flame resilient against the storm. In an instant, the winds reversed direction, as if the very air obeyed their defiance. The darkness crumbled, peeling back like a curtain revealing light. The woman's sneer faltered, her face twisted with confusion, then something else, fear. "Your strength is ephemeral," she spat, but there was less bite to her words now, the fervor fading in the face of their unity. Malik felt hope course through him, each heartbeat thrumming louder. "We are not afraid. Together, we are unstoppable." With one last, collective breath, the crowd erupted with a deafening cheer, drowning out the remnants of the storm. The energy swelled, a powerful current of connection, unity washing over them all. As the storm dissipated, light spilled into the community center. Malik saw every face illuminated with joy, tears streaming as the oppressive shadows retreated completely. They had weathered the darkness together, standing as a beacon of hope. Elder Howard wiped tears from his eyes. "You've done it, Malik," he whispered, awe evident in his voice. "You've lit a fire that cannot be quelled." Malik's heart swelled. He looked at Lila, her smile radiant, then turned to the community. "This is just the beginning. We'll keep fighting until every voice is heard, until our stories shine brighter than any fear." They clapped and cheered, the energy of their joy lifting them higher. Behind him, Karen stepped forward, pride etched on her face. "You've become a true leader," she said softly, arms wrapping around him. "We're ready to take this fight further. Together." And in that moment, standing amidst the heart of his community, Malik realized that they had become something greater. They were the light breaking through the storm, of force for change and inspiration. As the sun dipped low, its rays bursting through the last remnants of the dark clouds, delicious possibilities spread before them. They would continue on together, forging a path of transformation, hope, and a future built on the strength of their connection. This was their moment, and it had only just begun. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.